Right. Hey, Ankit, good to have you today.
Hey,
So,
Sampal.
so before we start with this interview, we have there is like a lot of concerns about Formester and how powerful is Formester, and concerns about the longevity of Formester, and given there is like heavy competition in the market for a farm building app. So there's, as you know, like there have been too many such apps has been emerging. I mean, not everyone sustains, but then too many has been emerging consistently over and over. Something like headless forms or form that will just help you to build from the. I mean, you can just build a front end and you can get the backend done with via like simple code. There are so many different form builders are coming up. So and there are concerns about how Formers is going to survive the market. So there are so many questions, doubts around the market, and also about like how long you have been working on the product and what is your future plans for the products, and especially how product has been like working outside of the lifetime deals as well. So we just want to we have put together like a bunch of questions that we have received
Mhm.
from our customers, and also something that we have also discussed internally to and we want to present it all to the customers. So this is going to be an interview around that. Before we get
Perfect.
started with, I mean, we have prepared around like nearly 15 to 16 questions. So before we get into all of that, would love to have a quick introduction of who is Ankit and why did you build Formester over any other tool?
Right. So yeah, Sampal, this is like me, Ankit, and as a software engineer, there was always an itch that I wanted to build something. So and to scratch that itch, like I would say, as an engineer, you're always on a lookout to make something useful because that's like an art as an engineer to you. So I was also on a lookout for what can I build, what can I use. So back in my early college days and in my career early on, I started blogging, and there was one thing. So my blog was getting good traffic, everything was happening well. So one thing that I wanted to do was have a list of subscribers. And as an engineer, like as a bit tech person, and like today the trend has grown even beyond tech, so people are building static websites. They are not trying to go to WordPress or Ghost or use services, because static pages have all the advantages. They are safe, they are fast and everything, right? So I was building my blogs on that, and I wanted to have a subscriber form, so anyone could subscribe to my newsletter or subscribe to give me their email, and later on I can interact with them in a better way with my blogs. So the idea thus began, and I tried exploring in the market what was the situation. So a lot of products came out, but none of them were very good. And this is something that I'm talking around like 5 6 years, maybe even way back than that also, when I was serving the market. So the idea emerged at that time, like why not build a product that can solve all of this problem. For example, spam was one of the problem that I saw. Like none
Right.
of these services provided you a good protection against spam. I wanted more. Like, okay, now I have collected the email. Will I have to take care of the emails on my own after this? For example, if I was using MailChimp, I was forced to have a double opt-in. People have to verify. So the drop rate was very high. So a lot of things. And sometimes if there was a good product, the pricing was too high. There was no free tier for people who just wanted to test their feed. So a lot of restrictions and limitations, and thus born the idea. So I said, okay, let me solve my problem. And as I solve my problem, I am sure there are a set of people who are just like me. I would not say that I am very unique. So there will be a set of people who are like me, who have this use case, and if I benefit out of it, there will be people who will benefit. And I would say if I am able to solve one problem, people will gather around it. A community will build. We will receive a lot of feedbacks, and we can keep expanding this. And the vision since then, Sampath, has expanded like this. That we just don't want it to be a form backend. So it started as a form backend. Today it has a form builder, but tomorrow we want it to be anything form related on the web.
Okay, interesting.
So you may want you have a static site. You want to build the comment section, because that's also a form of, it's a form. Comment section is nothing. You are able to fetch something and show, and you are able to save something in the database. That's also form. So we want to build this complete infrastructure around this. So for example, I'll tell you one thing that we are working on right now is, if you see, we have this pop-up form. When you click on a button, a pop-up form comes in. Now we are extending this to make it an exit intent form. So somebody was on the Formester page on SaaS Mantra, and they are trying to exit, and you wanted to show exit intent banner. Okay, why don't you get this case study about Formester to see what all it can do? Maybe that way you can collect lead and increase engagement. Many website wants this. And Right now, how SaaS Mantra would do is either you will build your own solution or you would use any third-party tool. Maybe you're already using Formester for some form. So multiple products, managing multiple products is always a pain, right? And
Right.
that's one reason why we love Google products, or people who use Microsoft, they love the Microsoft ecosystem. That
Exactly.
everything, especially for that one use case, is present in that one particular tool. So less tools to manage, less overhead, and less operational overhead. So that's the idea. Anything form related, you would be looking out to Formester something.
Got you. Got you. Interesting. So thanks for all the details. So now regarding the way how you are approaching to build Formester, are you saying like as long as we can bring in like any kind of input and use the Formester, so it's going to be more like we are going to be like tapping in something and Formester will work in the backend and it will deliver the output. Like it's basically going to be like anything that involves like text or images. Formester works from both the ends. You can get the input via Formester forms, and you can also start displaying it via Formester forms. Is that right? So when you say like commenting section and so on and on, so basically it's going to kind of work like sort of like a database as well. Is that right?
Yes, exactly. So right now you have two extreme ends of products in the market. One is you have products like Firebase, Superbase, or CRM tools like Strapi or anything that you might want to use.
Right.
These are purely database. You interact, you save data. So if you see, these are backend specific, but they don't have the form capabilities. And if you see on the third and this extreme end, you have products like Typeform or Jotform, which are basically forms, and then you move data however you want. So in the middle ground, I would say one popular product that has come in and become very popular is Airtable.
Right.
Right. So I would say, and now Airtable is also inclined more towards this end where there is Firebase. So if you say it's more toward like 70-80% towards this end of this spectrum, and there's a middle ground that is not explored and that is not tapped into. So a lot of software companies and a lot of businesses, they want this kind of flexibility, because if you go to Airtable, right, their form is powerful enough because they have been evolving it, but it's still lacking a lot of this. For example, if you want conditionals and if you want like single page, multi-page with image options, so they might not have that kind of customizability. So we want to give you this, we want to take on this space which is missing. And then at the same time, so what our approach always has been building is we build the infrastructure, the bare bones that is required, and then we listen to user feedback. So today you as a user, you subscribe to Formester and you say, okay, everything looks good, Ankit. I am looking for an image option, a radio option, a single select option with images. So now we have built it in such a way that it is extensible. So not every product is built with that thought. Okay, so if you, I would not say that, yeah, maybe they are built, but I'm just talking about Formester over here. So we have designed it in such a way that when people request us, we are in a capacity to extend it and build things in a very fast and a very performant manner. And just a sneak peek, Sampath, also. So down the line, we want to build an ecosystem of plugins. So let's say you as a developer or you as an automation engineer, or you want to, let's say, create, for example, you work at DocuSign, for example, or let's say any other product, right? And you want to integrate your widget with Formester. So you don't need to reach out to Formester team. Okay, Formester, you are getting popular. Why don't you add a DocuSign widget? Your team can work and build a plugin around it. And if you see a lot of the products that get very powerful is because they expose this plugin ecosystem. Example, take Figma or take any popular. In fact, Jotform has this extensive ecosystem of plugins where other people can build. I don't know if other people can build or they are building it, but they have this ecosystem where a lot of plugins can come in, because that's when you're not restricting the creative potential of the product just to yourself and your team. It's like, okay, somebody is pitching an idea and I am able to understand, I'm not able to understand. I am a human, right? You may have given me a very gem of an idea, but I don't get it. So I may not execute on it. But now you have a flexibility. You said, okay, let Ankit not do it. I will do it. I know a bit of coding. It is easy enough. You build that integration and it takes off. So you as a contributor also makes revenue, make name and everything for yourself. And Formester as a product can also grow along that.
Okay, that sounds interesting. And also sounds like very, very optimistic, given how the market has been shaping up. So now let me shoot some questions that we have in mind and something we have put together.
Sure.
As you know, the market has been like really tough, especially for form builder, right? So what makes you like feel super confident about Formester that you will be sustaining for a very, very long time to come? Sustaining, not just sustaining, but also will be successful.
Correct. So that is some one question that I also ask myself, right? So first, so the basic philosophy again, I'll come back to the first question that we discussed. Like,
Yes.
so why are you even building Formester?
Okay.
Right, because everything depends on your motives. I would say the motives and your intention why you are doing something is basically the make and break difference. Like, will you put everything that you have into it, or you will just give up? Will depend on that. So my motive has been to solve my problem. I am working as a software consultant, right? I work with couple of clients, and I see the same use case come over and over again. So I am going to use my product in that case. That is the first thing. As I build my website, as I build my blog, I am using it over there. Right. So first is I am definitely solving my problem. Correct. So that is the first thing that makes me feel very good. Okay, my problems are being solved through something that I have built. And the second thing is we are getting LTD user Sampath. Like you said, we are doing this LTD to get that initial feedback, a better grilling of the product, like what I would say grill, like extensive user going into each and every part of the product and giving us that feedback. Something is not as it should be, something is missing, this very basic thing you have missed, or this is wonderful, things like that. So coming back to the question, how would it sustain?
Sustain and also be successful.
And successful, right? So yeah, so we already have a like a handful of recurring paying users. And I will tell you, the wonderful part is these users are natural and organic. We never did any advertisements. What we are doing is we are engaging on socials, updating on some Facebook channels. And these people, they just came, they liked the product and they signed up and they paid for it. And that gives me a great amount of satisfaction. And this is not just some user who is using your product for 1 month or 2 months, right? So they have been continuing to use a product for now 8+ months, paying recurring subscription, not an LTD user, also recurring subscription. They are paying you recurring money, and they have created like 10+ forms each. All of these users, they have collected like hundreds and thousands of submissions on the product. So that tells you about the robustness. And I see a use case. So market is crowded for sure, but we believe our user experience, the way we are building the product, the way we are approaching customer service, the way we are listening to the problem. Typeform and Jotform are there. They are so big that if you reach out to them talking about your problem, nobody is going to listen to you, or maybe your problem is too small for them if you're not an enterprise user, right? But that's not the case with us. We get phishing people signing up, we ban their user. But if somebody connects with us, try to reach out to our support, we are very prompt, trying to explain, okay, what was the exact reason your account were banned. If you just look on Google, how many people lose their forms and everything working on Jotform, you will be crazy. Like, people are like losing years and years of their hard work because Jotform thought something was not complying to their policy, and they block your full account, delete your data. And just imagine you working as a market researcher, what position would you be?
Interesting.
So that's a customer service approach, right? Yeah, you need to take strict action, but at the same time, you need to have that bandwidth and the interest to serve people and make sure that, okay, they don't lose at the end of the day. Because so that is the intention of it.
Right. Speaking of which, what you just mentioned sounds interesting. So how does Formester handle such scenarios? You told me like Jotform just bans the account.
Correct.
So without even a notice.
Correct.
Right. I mean, they just tell you like, hey, we have banned your account for so and so reasons. Correct. So how does Formester handle such scenarios?
Right. So somebody, yeah, good question actually. So we also have a bot running in the background which keeps an eye for anything suspicious. Because, like, forms are very easy candidate for phishing, use for phishing and things like that. So we do get regular, we do get our share of such users, and our action is also quite similar. We ban them, we let them know in an email that your account has been banned. If you think this is not wrong, or if you think this is not right, reach out to us. We will help you. Right.
Got you. So basically, you just put the account on hold. You just notify the user and they just have to contact you.
Correct. And if they don't do, eventually everything gets deleted to clean up the space. So yeah,
right. So you can do that right now because a Formester is small when compared to someone like Jotform or Typeform. Right. So would you have the same approach even when you're growing bigger?
I would say, like, it might be like a funky example, but Amazon never compromised on customer service. From the day when they started, customer service has been their number one thing. For example, over here in India, right, Sampath? So we have two main e-commerce players, Amazon and Flipkart. So I would never go and buy from Flipkart, even though they might be homegrown or anything, because I don't trust their customer service. I would go and buy on Amazon because no matter what scale they are in, no matter what kind of countries they are operating in, when they were small, they always build the company around customer success, customer service. I love that philosophy, because if my end user is not happy, what's the point of building a product in that way?
True.
So these are some of the values that we live by. So whenever I would not say when you're buying a product or using a service, it's like marriage, but it's a small form of marriage. You are engaging, you're putting in your hard work over there. So you need to at least check in the value system of the person or the company that is behind it.
Got you. Totally. Yeah, nicely put. So can you give me like some concrete examples of how Formester has made quite remarkable impact on businesses? Apart from being like a form builder, what other ways how Formester has been used? Because you cannot sustain or grow your business just being a form builder in the market, given how the market has been like rapidly growing with all the AIs and stuff are coming in. So I'm not saying like AI is going to replace forms, but then being just a form builder is not going to be make you like a big shark in the ocean. So what exactly is your approach, and share some examples maybe?
Right. So like you said, Sampath, yeah. So there are plethora of form builders already, like you said, and maybe just doing that much is not sufficient. True. But like I said, right now, the focus has always been to build that robust foundation on which anything is possible to be built. So we are right now continuously working on that foundation part, improving it every day, making it as robust as possible. So now, like I was giving you an example, right? You wanted to add an exit intent form. That can be done. You wanted to have a NPS survey come out on your web application. You could do that. So we are also seeing a couple of competitors doing video kind of forms. So that is also something that could be soon be possible with Formester, right? So we are exploring all the possibilities. And now, as you see, these AI tools are able to create videos themselves based on the text. So maybe all of these technologies will come in together. So for example, SaaS Mantra, you could just use a character and you can like put in the text, okay, hey Ankit, how are you feeling about this particular deal on your website? And all those video conversational kind of thing can also come in place. So all of these are in idea. The limit is only in terms of how much we can put in executing. And like I have also, I might have mentioned in our past interviews, but we aim to stay bootstrapped and control the direction of the product as far as we can. Funding is something that we are not looking immediately. And maybe we will not take until unless there's a genuine need and a use case for it, which we feel is justified for the trade-off that we do. So that is the idea. And we are going to organically build this.
Okay. So that's for the future. But then so far, apart from being used as like a form building app, so your regular paying users, you said you have a handful of like monthly paying customers. So how are they using Formester apart from using it to build forms?
So they are just using it as a form builder because that is what we are offering right now. So what things, if you, so what we talked about was in the longer run, what can come and what things are coming. But for example, if you see in the short run, right, we have added a lot of things that were not there maybe 3 months back, if you say.
Okay, like?
For example, payments integration. If you see, even when we started this deal, the payment thing was something that was in progress. If you remember, we had this discussion, right?
Yes.
So now we are able to accept payment through Stripes. And if you go back, if you like around the same time, we did not have embeds. Like you could not embed iframes or videos inside of the form. It's a small ask, but that thing came in. Branding. So custom branding is one feature that we're building. And I was demoing it to one of our users like last week. And then they were like, okay, wow, this is so cool. This is a very good differentiator and this will help me build better forms and better product.
Right.
So there is incremental improvement. And I would say a better way, you as a user, right? Because you are asking me this question from a user's perspective. So as a user, I would say, look out if your requests are being heard, listened to, and they are valued or not. And if there's a continuous improvement in the product or not. If the product is getting stale, there is no new things coming out, nothing is changing in the product, that's a red flag. But
Right.
I would say every time you log in, we have a continuous deployment and continuous integration process. So we do frequent releases every day. So every now and then when you log in, you will see something is changed, something is improved. So that continuous momentum is there to keep taking it forward. So yeah, I would say that is one of the biggest thing, I would say, because a lot of products come and they just stagnate. Okay, you have the base set of features, please continue to use it. But that's not our idea. We came in the LTD market to accelerate that process, to get better feedback and to focus on what places we want to put our energy on.
Got you. Got you. Thank you. Thanks for that. So going with that, so given that you have been like heavily focused on being like building the foundation and stuff, so which means like during when you're focusing heavily on that, there could be like a lot of users, including LTD users, who would have shared like any critical feedback with you, or there maybe have like some negative remarks. Like, hey, I expect Formester to do this, but then you guys are not even there, not even close. Or some sections of your products seems to be like a bit buggy for me. So one or other. That could be like feedback. I mean, every product gets that, but then how exactly Formester has been handling that? Can you share like one or two examples of the kind of feedback, negative feedback, or critical feedback you have received, and how you guys have acted upon it?
Sure thing. So there is just one very obvious example that is in front of me. I'll share you like one or two examples that I can see, right? So any issues. So there was one user who has purchased our LTD and he was having some issue trying to embed the form on the website. So we got on a very long email thread. I got the link of his website. I personally got to his website, debug what was the issue and why was the link not working for his website. And it came out some specific CSS was incorrectly configured on his website. So we went as far as we could to look into his website source code and give him pointers on what can be done. And then I recorded a video sharing, okay, exactly. See, this is what can be done. If you just add this particular piece of snippet in your CSS, this should ideally fix it. And we also got some idea, understanding, okay, why this is happening. And we suggested, okay, going forward, we are also planning to make this as by default so that other people will not face it. So we do listen to any problem. We try to help and then we try to incorporate. Listen, help, and incorporate.
Okay.
So that's one example. I would give you one more example.
Sure.
So 3 of our LTD users, I will clearly say, because this same 3 requests came from our LTD users, and this feature was something that we had planned. It was down in the list. People wanted images in the single choice and multi choice question. So you have, okay, which is your favorite fruit? Apple, banana, mango, grapes. Right now you could only do radio, like it's without any images, but people wanted images, and that's a very valid use case. We also knew that, yeah, we wanted this, but it was down in the priority. Now 3 people pointed out the same thing. Okay, dude, this is important. We can make use of this. So we waited. When the first user said, we said, okay, sure, this is coming up. It's in the roadmap. You can have a look. When 2 people said, I said, okay, sure, this is in the roadmap. It's gonna come. But as soon as the 3rd person said, it moved from number 8 to number 1st immediately.
Got you. Nice.
So we knew immediately, okay, this is something people want, and this is something that we got continuous feedback. And that's what I always request everyone, like all of our users who will be watching this video, give us feedback, because we are listening. It's not like you're just putting an email who's going, nobody is going to read it. Everything is being read and it's being worked on. Everything you say is important and it's going to shape and help us direct the product. So yeah, so Sampath, that image is currently being worked on, and I have even promised that particular user that it will be out by the 1st week of March. So we are heavily working on that.
Oh, wow. Okay. Nice. Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah.
So moving forward, so you talked about like gaining investments in the near future if required. So, but otherwise, like Formester would continue growing as like one of the strong contenders in the market. But then to become like one of the strong contender in the market, you need to be compliant. Right? You need to have GDPR compliance and CCPA, if required, also HIPAA, so that you can also penetrate into healthcare industry and so on. So currently, I believe like you're not compliant with like so many laws out there, outside of, especially from Europe and US.
Yes.
Right. So what are your plans for that?
Great. So Sampath, like I would say, just last week, so we went through and we have like updated our privacy policy and everything to make it very much GDPR compliant, whatever GDPR requires, especially in terms of what kind of data are you collecting and things like that. So
Right.
we have tried to explicitly mention that and be compliant on that. And there are more things that we have to do, for example, showing a banner, cookie banner and things like that, which is going to come gradually, I would say. And HIPAA compliance and any other compliance that a form builder would need, we are going to get that as well, because we do not plan to leave out any specific sector or any use case. So all those are going to come in. But if that particular industry is not even using your product and you don't even understand the use case, you go like you take a leap and you solve those problems. I would say we know that there are some problems which people are willing to pay for and use it. So rather solve them first and then maybe look at HIPAA compliance, and then when there's a need and the use case like that. So
Got you.
I would say those are in the roadmap, but we have a lot of things to do before that that are very important for our users, which is going to impact them and give them a lot of value immediately. So right now, if you are able to use Formester in like one of 5 use cases, we wanted to take it to 3 and 4 or 5 even.
Got you. Got you. Perfect. So, and not many, but then I have received personal feedback from a couple of people, a couple of LTD customers, especially. They mentioned that Formester is like kind of a bit complicated than other form building tools to build forms on. So, what is your take on that?
Yeah. So this one came as a bit of a surprise to me. I would definitely be reaching out to people, and I would request them, if you find anything that is not very intuitive or not very clear, please do reach out just with a screenshot or with a text or video, whatever works for you. The support email is present, everything is accessible. Please reach out to me, because I feel very happy when somebody says something is not done right and something is very hard, because okay, I get a feel, okay, there is something more that can be worked on in this particular page or this particular way we or the UX and the things that we are doing. But some of the overwhelming feedback that we have received from many users is, in fact, LTD users itself is, and these are the LTD users whom I have interacted directly. They have replied for some help, and they replied to the emails that we sent out, and I have been talking to them, and they're like, no, this is very intuitive. We really love the interface, the power and the capability. And they have given a couple of suggestions, like the paragraph tag was not supporting images. So one LTD user said to do that. And the way they said, like, isn't it quite silly that I had to use an image element and a paragraph element to add a text and an image. But if I am creating a multi-page form, they go on 2 different pages. So I was like, I was like, yeah, this is very silly. This should be addressed. And then we immediately went and addressed that, and that is sorted now. So things like that. And people have, this is the overwhelming feedback of things has been easy, but we are interviewing more users. It's an evolving thing. Everything, a lot of things are changing. We are adding new features. So yeah, it might at point time feel a bit overwhelming to some users, but definitely feedback is where we will understand and we will solve those problems.
Right. So you mentioned like you are jumping on like customer calls to understand like what are challenges. So on an average, how many calls do you make, and how do you see that seem to be growing, especially when you're going to grow bigger? You may not have time to do all the calls. So how exactly are you planning to address that in the future? So there are 2 questions. How many are you managing this right now, and how are you planning to scale this up when the company is scaling up in the future?
Correct. So I have heard this saying from someone, like in a start, like when you're starting out, do unsustainable things that are not very sustainable. So that is the place where we are right now. I am the person who is taking the calls, understanding the problems, and then maybe taking some help from my team to do the development part of things. So like I said, so we have a consulting company as well. So the development part is at least not on me, or I would say not very heavily on me. I do take some work, some decisions, but I do have some help. So I am able to put in a sufficient amount of efforts in terms of speaking with people, scheduling calls. So it's like somebody is replying to, so we send regular emails to everyone asking like, how do you feel about product? And when people they say something I don't like, something I like, I generally pitch in like, okay, would you be available for a short 15 minutes call to discuss what your use cases are and what you feel about the product? And some people agree, some don't agree. Whoever agree, we go on a call. Some people are comfortable over chat. I myself as an introvert, like really like that idea. Okay, let's do an email conversation. But some people are not, and we are fine. So we go on a video call with them. speak about what they are feeling, and just trying to understand, okay, what challenges they are facing. So the first goal is always to solve their problem. And in the end, if there is some time left to get some understanding, okay, how they are liking the product, what is it that they are finding very difficult or not very easy, if they were using some product in the past, what was better, what would you recommend for us to pick from there, or like get inspiration from there. So people have been suggesting ida forms and couple of other products. For example, yeah, this was also very like I remember now. So one user also requested that right now they wanted to have ability to control which submissions are read, which submissions are unread, like in Gmail you would say.
Interesting.
So yeah, and this was something that was present in another product, ida forms. And this guy person presented this problem to us like 2 months back. So we were thinking about it, and it felt like a genuine use case. We were doing it automatically. As soon as you open the page, everything was marked as read. So one more user came, and and the second user, I was talking on the call actually, and this person didn't even mention this problem. But while on the call, he mentioned this product. Okay, so I've been using ida forms. This is another person, and he said, okay, I've been using ida forms, and this is one thing. It was not a deal breaker for this person, but it was for the first person. But he also mentioned, okay, this is a problem that I see. If it can be done, it's awesome. So I said, yeah, okay, two people are saying this. It totally makes sense now. And
Right.
so this kinds of discoveries happen over call, which may not happen because they think it's a small thing for them, and they might not even convey that to you.
Right. Interesting. So how many such calls do you jump on a week? Just to give me an average.
On an average, I would say 2 calls, Sampath. It's not much because we are growing as not many people are signing up and everything.
Right.
But I would say 2 calls on an average a week.
Right. 2 a week literally just adds up. It goes up
Yes.
all the way up to 100 interviews in a year, all
Yes.
more than 100. So which is really good.
Yeah.
So coming back, so we're talking about like product being like complicated for some people who are not. So on a scale of 1 to 10, how customizable do you think Formester is at the moment?
I would say 9, maybe even
And why?
8.5.
And why?
Right. So if you take our form builder, I'll take, so we just got a couple of testimonials from the LTD users. So I was so happy speaking with this person, and I was literally smiling when I was talking to her over the email. So she has been a Paperform user for 4 years.
Wow.
And she is like, the way I can customize the forms in Formester's form builder, like color and everything, the way I can control is like unparalleled. And these are the exact quotes that she said. I have been a Paperform user for 4 years, and I am migrating all my forms and my husband's form from Paperform over to Formester.
Interesting. Is it possible to share the email with me? Like you can just mask the name and stuff.
Yeah, you could see that on the website. So we even got the testimonial live on the website.
Oh, nice.
You could see her name, and of course I can give you her email and name if you want to speak with her.
Wonderful. That's amazing.
Yes.
Thanks for sharing that.
So yeah, instead of me telling that, this is coming from the user, and that's a lot more powerful.
Okay.
It's my product. I would rate it 9, 10. You might not believe it, but when a user says, we ought to believe it.
Right. Totally. I'm with you on that. So speaking about the market for such products, like, so do you think that market for a form builder is like oversaturated?
It is.
Or do you think there's still room for more players?
Right. It is saturated. Yes. Is there a room for another player? Yes. Answer is yes to both the questions. See, take any industry, I would say, right? Nobody knew, like, okay, when something new comes up in the market, I'll take a beer market, for example, in India, right? So Kingfisher, some people are not from India, but I'll just take a silly example. Maybe you will be able to relate in your country as well, right? So the beer market was captured very heavily by Kingfisher and Godfather in India. Nobody knew that, okay, any other beer could ever win. But then a startup comes called Bira, and today they have like a massive market share, even tier 1 cities. Now they are even winning in tier 2 cities. Youngsters, like people, anyone under around 35, they are going out to 3 different stores looking for Bira White.
Oh, wow.
That's the beer. So beer market was so saturated, Kingfisher had a 70% share. Nobody thought that any new player could come in and take that space, right? So, but they had a different take on it, and it resonated with the audience of that time.
Okay.
No matter how established or saturated the market is, if you are willing to build a quality product, be persistent at it, and be willing to improve, there will be people who will resonate. And I get these validations through our LTD users who have shown the trust because they are actually buying and they're using the product. Like I shared the paper form example with you. And also the recurring users, people who organically come without any sales, without any advertisement, they come and they see the product's value and they are buying. And also one thing I would like to specifically mention is the market for form builder is huge.
Right.
Yeah, there is a huge number of competition, but if you see every business, no matter what kind of business you are doing, any business that has any kind of online presence needs a form. And that is one challenge I as a founder find. This is something off topic, but whenever I'm talking to marketing people and consulting, they're asking, tell me your ideal user persona. I'm like, dude, everyone can use this product. How do you want me to answer that question? And that is a debate I have with everyone. And because that is the challenge, because uh, a tech product, because I work with tech companies. These are tech heavy companies who have 50 plus engineers working with them. They don't want to build a form because form is a hard problem to solve. Trust me. It's not very easy. So they have their website, they have this complicated product, they are doing $1 million in revenue. Still, they are using a form service because it makes a lot of things easy for them. And so if a tech company has to use it, any business online has to use it in today's world. Yes, competition is there. But if you make a good intuitive product which offers the right service at the right price with the right level of flexibility, I would say there are more people, like people who organically came and bought. There will be more people as we increase our visibility and as people, lot more people come to know about the product.
Got you.
Because it's also a personal test, right? So you also think, right? You are trying type form, paper form, and Formester, and you see all of these have equal capabilities. Formester is slightly cheaper than that, and you like the UX. How would you make your call? You will make your call based on what you like.
Right.
So,
totally. So there's always market is what you're saying. There's always, yes. Okay. Thank you. So it's good to have your perspective.
Yeah.
So now going back, we're talking about the market share and stuff. So what regions are farmers are currently targeting right now? Is it like typically from India, or is it like Western regions as well?
So actually, I would say it is the reverse. So our payment integration doesn't even work in India. That is the sad part. We are working on it because RBI suddenly changed some guidelines that Indian cards cannot buy in US dollars and things like that. They do all this kind of crazy stuff. You might be aware of that.
Right.
Yeah. So suddenly Stripe stopped working for Indian cards. So now anyone in India who is trying to buy using their card doesn't work, and we are still to fix it. But yeah, coming to the question, we are targeting more like the US market, European market, and the Australian market. But I would say, again, it's not restricted to this particular region or the audience because the pricing is very competitive and affordable.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So I have been talking to a YouTuber. I hope this is fine if I share some stories.
Totally. Yes.
Yeah. So I was talking to this YouTuber. I reached out to him. He did a review about Google Forms and Microsoft Forms. He was talking about, he's an Indian YouTuber and he has around like 250,000 subscribers. Oh, wow. And he was helping teachers and educators in India how to build quizzes.
Okay.
So I was on a call with him. I'm like, hey, this is our product. I gave him a demo and everything. And he's like, yeah, this looks very nice. I am able to understand everything. This is exactly what I need. He gave me a couple of feature ideas and all. And one question that I asked him was, do you think this price at which we are selling 39 and 49, that is our subscription plans, is good enough for anyone who is from India? He's like, yes, absolutely. This was his exact expression. Yes, dude. So what he said, I'll quote him again once again. Okay. He was like, Ankit, I will convert it. We were talking in Hindi. I'll convert it. So he said, Ankit, just go out and look for Google Sheet extension for timers. Mm-hmm. So this quiz, they ideally need to have a timer. I think this is a requirement for the test. So when you're doing for school and education, you need to have a timer on it. Right. So what he said, Ankit, just Google and look what is the price of a Google Sheet timer extension. It's not a product. It's an extension that works on top of Google Sheet. He says, these guys are giving around like 700 or like I would say $9 or $8 plan, and they're only giving 200 submissions.
Okay, that's like
200
one
to
time.
500, just one time. And after that, the
Okay.
price even increases further. So I just
Okay,
went
wow.
out and I checked and like, okay, dude, this product. And he's saying, you are giving a form builder. And once you add this timer feature, which you can based on your robust infrastructure. And so he's like, if you just give this, people are more than happy to, because they're already paying 1,000 rupees or 10 USD to that particular extension. Why can't they pay to get a full product? And on top of that, you have this email feature, you have this autoresponder notification and whatnot. So anybody is more than happy. And I was like, yeah, that is something nice. So we are in a
Interesting.
talk with him to do a video on Formester.
Oh wow, that'll be amazing.
Yes,
Nice. Please feel free to share with us like once you have the video ready.
sure, something.
Yeah, excellent. So, and you've been mentioning about the pricing and stuff, right? So I just want to understand like how is Formester is planning on competing with products that are potentially free or any low cost products that are like cheaper than Formester that is already available in the market. I just don't want to name anyone in specific, but that could be like multiple products that are freely available today
Yes,
just to build
true,
some
true.
basic forms. I mean, they'll have their own branding and stuff, but that apart from the branding ideas, when powered by so and so, powered by
Right.
Form Builder. So apart from that, there are also like cheaper alternatives available. Like we are talking about the expensive side. There is also like a cheaper side, or
Cheaper
I would
side.
say like affordable side. So
Yes.
how are you planning to compete with them?
Right. So, right. The thing is like this, right? So when we also built it, right? We built it, and the basic stuffs that we built were quite easy. So if you go to any form builder, just
Mm-hmm.
this is a, I would say this is a yardstick how you measure any product. So go to any form builder and see what kind of features are they offering. So building a form builder which you can drag and drop and to create some kind of form is first step, and that is generally very easy. The challenge starts after that. So now when you want to add things like custom domains on top of it, when you want to add conditionals on top of it, when you want to add quizzes on top of it, and when you want to do conditional emailings on top of it, that's where the real value is. Just collecting and building a form is not that hard, but to do the form is very hard. So people will be able to do, and some people have a use case just to do a form and collect forms.
Right.
Maybe even Formester's free plan is good enough for them, because we are giving almost everything that you need in our free plan, not even having a branding. It's completely
Exactly.
customizable, and everything you are getting in the free plan. So there is nothing stopping you from using that. But still, someone is buying a $13 plan or a $49 plan. There's a reason to that, because they see there's an additional value in that which I need, which a free product will never be able to give to me.
Got you. Got you. Totally makes sense. Thanks for that.
Yeah.
And speaking of which, so how Formester is going to be shaping up the free plan and also making the considerable differences between the free plan and the paid plan. So the product will remain sustainable so that even if you're going to be loading up like say 500,000 free
Right.
users every single month, and also getting them to upgrade if they want like more additional features. So how are you going to be structuring that? Just give us
Correct.
some insights or some
Right.
inside info.
Yeah. So one thing from our user interviews, I was interviewing one of my friend from UK. He
Mm-hmm.
was my past client, and he had a need for a form builder.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing that came up, and it has been coming up regularly. I'm just taking this one instance as an example. So one thing that comes up is he says our free plan is too free or too relaxed, like it's giving too many things for free.
Right.
So that is the general feedback that I received, and
Mm-hmm.
which I was fine, because to me it was a kind of an LTD way of getting people to use the product and giving the feedback before we did LTD. Like
Right.
give more things that people need in the free plan, because that's what we are doing LTD for, right? To get more people to try it and give us that understanding and the feedback. So before LTD, that was my idea. Okay, let's keep a good free plan which people can basically come and use, and that way we get some feedback. So that was the idea. But after 31st March, when we close the Formester deal from SaaS Mantra website, right, and we freeze it, and I hope, yeah, we get good number of users, and that's it. We don't have to do another wave ever, because
Right.
we have good number of people who already bought it, right? Like,
Right.
so so already getting crazy amount of feedback and testimonials. So that is the idea. That was the goal, and I think if we hit that, we are gonna close it, and we are going to tighten all the plans. So there are things that we are giving too freely. For example, in the free plan, there is no limit on the forms. So
Right.
maybe something like that would come in to nudge people to upgrade to a higher plan, because
Okay.
Because linking back to the sustainability plan, sustainability happens when we have a recurring revenue. Whatever
Exactly.
we get from LTD community is a validation. Okay, this is a product you are willing to use and you're willing to pay a price for this. So this is a
Exactly.
validation, and the value is in the feedback and the experience that they bring on the table and these things that they share with us. So that is the biggest value, I would say, even bigger than the money. But sustainability will happen from recurring revenue, and as we tighten things up, couple here and there, this would go. And one thing I would like to again reiterate to our LTD community, whoever has bought our plan till 31st of March, my goal, because I'm not giving it to like thousands and thousands of users that I will have a hard time managing it. It's like you people are just like an extension of me. The way I am using product for myself, I am assuming that okay, you are my friends and you're using this product for a product on because on my invite, right? So any restrictions or anything that we do will always be done keeping in mind the well-being of these people, because these people invested in the product, invested in terms of they showed interest and they bought it and they interacted and they are using the product, and that's my way of showing gratitude that okay, no matter what kind of tightening up we'll be doing, it's always going to be in favor of our users.
Got you. Nice.
And this has always been my philosophy. Like even if we do a price rise, for example, we are also going to do the rise in the price a bit based on what the market says and sees in on some of our plans. Our existing user continue to use the same plan for a foreseeable amount of time. We give them a good amount of time and okay, this is gone up, but it's not going to offer you. So it is very considerate of a user. We want to build a customer centric product and not just a business centric product.
Right.
That is always the goal.
Absolutely.
Because these people who joined us early in the journey are the people who showed trust in us, and these people have to be rewarded. Now, with their help, with their feedback, the product is rising. Okay, now it's like investment, right? So when you invest in a company early, you get like a 10% equity for 10 for like 1 crore rupees or 1 million. But later down the line, you are putting 1 billion, then also you get just 1% of equity. So think it in a similar way.
Nice. Okay, beautiful. So far we talked about like product and product's growth and the market share and stuff. So now for people who are probably concerned about the how Formester is going to sustain, especially given that multiple LTDs are going down out of nowhere, they're just shutting down stuff.
Right.
So people put in their time, especially more than the money, it's about the time, like you were just mentioning, into building or moving everything into Formester and then putting everything into Formester, and they want to build it. And they're going to be hopeful because they're in for a long term to come, like very long term to come. So, and there are some concerns, of course. So we want to address those concerns as well. So let's go with that. And let's just talk about like, I mean, we have a few questions regarding products growth and how you're structuring and stuff. Let's just quickly talk about the worst case scenario. Say things don't go well for Formester. I mean, worst case scenario, touch wood, right? Say 2 years, 2-3 years down the line, if things don't go well, and then you want to take a different direction, and you want to shut down the product for some other reason, right? So what would happen to the LTD customers in that case?
Right. See, I would say it's not going to go down first. Right. I'll come to your question also. So yeah, first thing, it's not going to go down. The reason I say is, even before we did LTD, we are live for 2.5 and 3 years. So the app has always been running, everything has been happening, improvement has been happening, right? Customer acquisition has been happening. It's not like that we built this product and we came to LTD and like we are in some rush. Right. That thing. Some companies and some products are in rush. We are in no rush. That's what I said. We want to be bootstrapped because that gives me freedom. I may be spending around maybe $200 on my servers, but that's pretty much it. I can put it in from my money or from somewhere, right? So that is how maybe the rate of development will slow down, but being bootstrapped gives me that leverage to run it for as long as I want. First thing, we have already been running before we did LTD, and we will continue to do so. So that is the first part. The second thing is we are also getting steady recurring users. So that definitely adds to any product. To sustain a SaaS, you need recurring users. So we are working on that. We are doing that. If you see our blogs, if you see our SEO growth, all those things are also on point and working. So that is because you are my like as a team member, right? We all are as a family, as a team member, need to know where the product is heading. So the SEO is growing, organic traffic is growing. So all those things are also being worked on. And third thing, Sampath, God forbid, if ever Formester has to go down, my idea is we will be making the code open source.
Okay.
If ever it has to happen.
Okay.
Correct. So this is one direction that we have always been exploring, like in what ways can we contribute to the open source community, right? So we have built a couple of libraries. Like there is no good font picker library in the tech world. So we built that, we gave it out to the world because we are building on an open source platform. We are building open source frameworks and technology. Why not? Why also not give it back to that community from where we are taking a lot of things? So that has been idea. We always keep exploring on what can be open source, and tying it back to the first point that we were discussing early, that we want to build an ecosystem of plugins. So that has to be a bit more open. So a lot of things would be opening up in that end. But yeah, to not very complicate the answer, if God forbid, our attempt would be to make it an open source software. So let's say you put in the money, you at least have access to this product. If you want to host it in your own way or do anything with it, so you at least, it's not like, okay, your money went in, the product went down, something like that. So something, you will have something, at least you would have given something to the community, and now maybe somebody else can come in and take charge of the product. They can take it in a different direction. A lot of things can happen once something becomes open source.
Interesting. Very commendable answer. I appreciate that.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. So now coming back to the good part. So you mentioned like you're consistently getting like more users,
right,
and you're also clocking like recurring revenue from the users as well, right? So is it possible to share some numbers? It doesn't have to be anything exact, but maybe say you're on average you're getting like roughly about like 300 new signups outside of the promotions and stuff, out of which like 10% conversion rate is happening. Throw some numbers, so that will be like interesting for
right.
audience.
So like I would say, so right now we don't have a lot of recurring users, to be very honest. So
That's
that is
totally
that is the fair answer. But like I said, so number of people coming to the website has increased. So every day organically on Google, we are getting 1,000 impressions now.
Okay.
Right. Based on our blogs and the pages that we have done, we are getting 1,000 impressions. And every day on an average, I would say we are getting 4 signups.
Okay. Like purely organic, nothing, no efforts.
Purely organic, no ads, just social media updates that we do and organic.
Right.
Based on this, we are getting around like 4 to 5 signups every day. And conversions, I would not say it's much at this point of time, like you said, because we still are evolving the offering and working on the product, because most of the times people are okay with the free plan, like things we were discussing again in the previous part of this video, right? People are sufficient with the free plan. We need to nudge them more to increase the conversions. But I would say every month I would be saying like maybe we add 1 users or 2 users as a recurring users. That's the aim. 1 user is something that is fair, I would say, out of these. That number is going to increase starting March, because we are going to tighten down a lot of things, and the product is also becoming a lot more richer every day, day by day. So every time you talk to me from the last webinar, I'll tell you 3 more things that has been added to the product.
Exactly. So in other words, like the product has been like posting some month-on-month growth. Yes. Is it fair to say that?
Yeah, exactly. Okay. I would also give you like, I don't know how important this is for other people, because when I say that I want to grow Formester organically without funding, then organic growth has to happen. I can also give you a screenshot of last 6 months, how our Google search console looks like. Many people would be interested in that. I don't mind sharing that number. If you see like, okay, where were we and where we are heading. So if you see the graph is like this, if not like this, it's like this. So that makes me happy. And then I would say people would like to see, because just saying that I want to grow it organically is fine, is first step. But what am I, or what is the company doing to make it happen? So I can back that by numbers in that way. Yes.
That will be amazing. If you can share that over email or something, that will be fantastic.
Yes. Yep. I can share that with the audience.
Yeah. So speaking of which, you said like the overall is decent, but it's not like huge.
Yes.
Right. So how is it possible to sustain with such a small revenue? I mean, this could be helpful for other founders as well. So how is the sustainability part works out when you don't have like big amount?
Right. So again, I keep saying that again and again, that our main source of revenue is our consulting business.
Right.
So we are a team of 9 people, engineers, and some we are adding a marketer as well. So 9 people team. So mostly all our revenue comes through. We are doing good over there. God keep blessing us in that. So we are doing quite well over there. And how we work is every month we take out a percentage of fund that is called as R&D fund, you can call it, or a product fund, you call it whatever. So we take out a percentage out of it and we put it uh, to build products.
Okay.
So, and you can also think not in terms of fund, but every person that we have on the team is expected to contribute their 20% to growing a product.
Okay.
So you don't want to, so let's say if you are a part of my team, 80% of the time you will be working. That's not a hard and fast rule. Just I'm saying that is the rough picture. Some months it can be more, some months
not something you put on stone, but just give some numbers.
Yeah, that is an idea, right? So 80% of the times you're working on generating revenue. You work with the client, you give the service that is required, you build whatever is required. But 20% of your energy and your talent you put in growing a product in the company.
Right.
Something similar to what Google does. They are Google, they can do anything. We cannot do anything. So, but something similar. The culture starts from the beginning, right? So that is the idea. If you are an engineer, you will be working on improving the product in some way. If you are a marketer, you would be working on some ways to grow the product. If you're a content writer, maybe if you're writing 10 contents a month, one content you will be writing for Formester also.
Okay.
So that's how you put in your energy. And again, that's some of the fund also we take in, because funds are required in terms of running servers, paying bills and different things. So that's how some part of revenue and some part of effort we do this. And this is one product, we will talk about that, I think, in the end. Like you might have some question about the other products.
Okay.
But yeah, so that is how, Sampath, we are sustaining at this point. We will continue to do that. I'll tell you also one reason, right? We don't just want to be a service company. We want to be a product first company now.
Okay.
And I would say the goal is to build wealth. I am a huge believer in the way Zoho and companies like Zerodha have come forward and they have built this wonderful business. It's not easy, but these companies are empowering people, and they're creating wealth.
Right.
Wealth not just for themselves, but for everyone who is in it.
True.
So let's say, Sampath, if you are working with me as a growth partner or anything, right? So if we continue to work on service, you and I only get the revenue till that client is paying us. Tomorrow, if that client cuts you off, you don't get paid anymore. You need to hunt for a new client. But if you are able to make a product, and if you are able to make it successful, which is harder than getting a service, if you are able to make it, you have a recurring revenue, you generate long-term wealth for all the people who are in it, not just for yourself. So I will be becoming rich. Thank you. Yeah, that is something that will motivate me.
That's a risk and reward. Yeah,
that's a risk and reward. So that will motivate me, but that is not what motivates me more. My goal is to empower people, to create a place where they like to work, where they enjoy, and also they get to generate wealth for themselves. So these are some philosophies and some principles that I operate on, and so far we are doing good. Let's see how that goes forward. But that is the idea.
Nice. So at Formester, as you have been mentioned, like you're building new features, which is really well and good, and you're also considering prioritizing the features based on customer feedback, which is fantastic. But how are you going to market those new features that you have been consistently building, so that you can turn that into like marketing material, so that you can acquire users? So how are you doing that?
Correct. So right now,
it's a big team to manage all of that.
True. And it's not a big team. Plus, it's all tech people. We don't have that marketing inclination. So that's also a problem, because everybody is willing to put that 20%. But if I don't know marketing, what will I put in? Maybe I will learn, I will explore a couple of things. And then we are trying to do that. For example, if you see, we constantly push out blogs. We try to put more than 2-3 blogs a month, but sometimes it's 1 blog a month. Right. So blog is one thing that we do. We try to keep our social handles engaging. For example, if you see, we are active on Twitter, LinkedIn, and Instagram, and on Facebook. We try to post relevant contents on these particular channels.
Right.
So, and going forward, we are also in talks to hiring a marketing person who can look at the end-to-end marketing. So that is something we are working on, because like I said, we want to grow organically, and that has to happen through organic marketing efforts. So we are getting someone in-house who's going to work on this and push it forward. And of course, so again, that is also has the same part, like we will also be exposing that as a service in our agency, and 20 to 50% of the time we will be putting in Formester.
Nice. So just a couple of last questions. So you said like you have been posting organic growth, and you have not been spending on ads. Like everything that comes up, It's purely organic. But and you guys still don't have marketed either, like not a full-time marketer working with us, working with you. So how is the how is it happening? Like, can you share like one or two marketing techniques that you guys have been using so that you're consistently bringing organic growth, especially month-on-month growth? You said about like Formester Tools has growth like this. So how is that happening without even having a full-time marketer? I'm
Yeah.
curious.
So we know one thing, that we need to crack. I'm sorry, we need to crack SEO.
Right.
So SEO has to happen, because if Sampath is looking for Typeform alternatives, Formester has to come on the first page. Because
Right.
if you don't see me, you will never buy me.
Right.
Because you need to see me, and then you try, and then you fall in love, and then you buy. Right.
Right.
But first I need to be there. So that is, and that's how organic will work. So we have, from the day one, we have been very content focused. I would say we have like 20 plus blogs on our website. If you go to formester.com, you would see like we are posting a lot of valuable blogs. Some blogs are technical in nature. Our engineers are writing some of the blogs explaining explaining what is web form spams. If anyone wants to understand that in a bit more detail, how spam works, what are the different ways it's being tackled in the industry, what we are doing. So we are writing those kinds of blogs. Then there are majority of the blogs that are on the business side of things. For example, what are the good survey questions that you should be asking? What kind of service that you should be doing as a business, right? So, and then there are blogs like what are the top form builders that are out there in the market. So small things like this effort that are adding up on each other.
Right.
And then we did a couple of comparison pages, which we try to like increase. We need to do more comparison pages. So we do small experiments, but definitely it's all going to be content driven as far as I can understand. ChatGPT is going to revolutionize it and change it, but I would say still content is going to be there. People will be looking for good content. So if you are able to generate good valuable content, people will be sharing it, people will be liking it, people will be consuming it, and it's going to be used, backlinked, and we're going to get a lot of traction through that. Content is, I would say, number one priority, Sampath, on our list. No doubt about that.
Perfect. Yeah. So just want to take a step back and then take a moment to say thank you for being there to address like all the questions, like because some of them might be like focusing more on getting the more inside information about like how you guys have been a growing Formester without even having a full-time marketer. So when you say like you have been heavily focusing on the SEO aspect to it, because that alone would be like requiring other interview alone.
Person.
Yes, we'll do that. So in terms of like because there is like a lot of SaaS products out there who are not focusing heavily on SEO from day one, which I believe they should, because that's like super important. Like you said, like unless and until you say it, you wouldn't buy it. That's like super. I really like the quote. So especially the way you put it. So I'm glad that things are working out really well for Formester. So thanks for taking time to do this interview. So instead of like instead of doing like focusing more on the marketing aspect, I mean, that's something like I want to share from my personal experience. This might be like more tempting for any business to try out like multiple channels. I see you already have social media and then SEO figured out. Maybe like add one more channel, but then try not to go more than 3 channels at a time.
Totally. So yeah. I like you said. So we have 3 things that we have figured out. I'll tell you that also.
Okay.
Now that you have brought up. So organic in terms of content, blogs, right, and pages. Second is social media that we continue to do, and third is a cold outreach. So we very soon we want to do cold outreach. So I have some experience with cold outreach in my experience line of work, and I have a couple of friends who are doing that. So we are also going to explore that. So we need that for our agency. Again, it goes hand in hand.
Right.
Whatever it has to be sustained. So any vertical that we create in the company has to earn its own revenue, and then it can contribute back over here. Or maybe, even if not on the day one, it has a 3 months time to start generating its own revenue and then contribute to the product. So that is the idea. So yeah, so cold outreach or business development, whatever you want to call it, because I do see that, like I said, like we also talk, people don't know about Formester, so how will they even buy it, right?
Right.
So maybe this person's job would be to reach out to people on LinkedIn, telling them, okay, maybe it looks like you have a need for a form. We are makers of Formester. Why don't you give it a try? I can I would love to know your feedback. We are just starting out, and anything, whatever that message would look like. But that is also one channel that we would want to expose, because that works very well for SaaS product.
Right.
From my experience working for 8-9 years now in the SaaS industry, I know, okay, that is one thing that works quite well. So if you don't have the SEO crack, because SEO is a long-term game. Once you crack it, and you need to keep at it. But till you crack it, you have to like keep working on it. But yeah, the results will come later. If you want to see immediate results, for example, if you want to have more conversions happening, we need to figure out this particular role, because some people are already a happy paper form user. They are not looking for an alternative. I need to go and reach out to them. Okay, Sampath,
Right.
you are using paper form. How can I help you? Maybe I have. So see, the way we have also talked to a couple of people and it had worked out is, so I saw that Sampath was using paper form. What we did, we took your form and we converted it into Formester and made it even better in some ways, like in terms of the way it is presented. And then we got back, Sampath, hey, this is your form. You are currently paying $19 for paper form. We have converted this, and I assume this looks and the user experience is much more better. Why don't you give it a try? And if you like it, do let me know. If you want to try it out, I can create an account for you. And then people are like, yeah, this is nice. Why don't you do that? I like this one. Or someone is like, please don't copy this one. Sorry, we're going to delete this form. That's fine. Done.
Got you. Nice. I like the way you put it for code outreach. Thank you. Thanks for sharing that.
Yes.
And thank you. So that's pretty much like all the questions I have had. Like maybe we can have another session just to talk about how you guys are handling SEO part of it, and how are you identifying like sections, I mean, the kind of content that you want to create.
It is very disorganized, trust me. So it is just somehow we are pulling it off. We don't know exactly how we are, what we are doing. Well, I'm very honest, because that is not something I am an expert at. So we take help from some people from outside. Till now, we have worked with like 2, 3, 4 people, and we are not quite happy. And now we feel that, okay, we are at a stage where we understand, after doing it for 1 year, 1+ year, we understand, okay, we understand, and now we are ready to have someone in now. So we started with contracting and freelancing. I know we will be fooled, so that we will get someone who is not sometimes very great, sometimes someone who is very great, because the budget is always a constraint, right? So we got all those ups and downs and the experience. Okay, what works, what does not work, without minimum commitment. Because when you recruit someone, that person's career and life, everything, he is expecting the company to look after. So we are very cautious about that as well. So first we wanted to understand it ourselves, and now we think we are at a stage where we can get this person in, and I'm actively interviewing. So I've interviewed one person already. She is very promising. We have 2 more interviews lined up, and hopefully March we have someone who can do this full time, and you will see this grow further.
Lovely. So big cheers to Formester, and thanks for making time today.
Thank you, Sampath.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Speak soon.
Speak soon.
Yes, man. Have a good one.
Yeah. Thank you.
Bye for now.
Bye. Bye.